I've got to talk to you about your love for the Beatles because, as a kid, I have just been like over the top my whole life about, Paul and John especially. Where were you when John passed away?
I was.
Did that? You were probably just a kid, but
I was 8.
Do you remember the way it affected you and people in Manchester?
I'll tell you what, it didn't, I was just a kid, man, just playing with a ball. I didn't even know what the Beatles were, to be quite honest, you know what I mean? My mum and dad were never big Beatle fans, but I remember hearing Imagine round about that Christmas time and stuff, and that tune freaks me out a bit every time I hear it. So I wasn't really affected by it that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you got into the Beatles at what age?
I got into Beatles. I got into music like when I was about 18. I was a bit into football, you know what I mean? So I got in late on, but when I got in big, you know what I mean? I'm John Lennon's the man for me, you know what I mean?
No, absolutely. So you're a City fan, right?
I'm a City fan, yeah.
Manchester City as opposed to United, right?
Yeah.
I remember having Noel and Bonehead on 120 Minutes with me, and actually we brought up Manchester.
One of them's a red and blue, yeah.
Right. So they were so near brawl that day over that on the air, which was pretty cool. It was really funny.
Yeah, it's good fun, man.
I got a kick out of that actually. So Liam, tell me some of your other favorite records, some of the things that you love, and once you discovered music at 18, besides the Beatles, what were you listening to?
Right, well, obviously a Manchester thing I got into music through the Manchester thing, which was the Stone Roses, the Happy Mondays, and obviously I know I was a big Smiths fan. So I sort of went back through his collection, really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that opened doors up, the Kinks, the Who, all sorts, Hendrix, Neil Young, you know what I mean? The Pistols, our kid was a big Pistols fan.
Yeah.
Smiths and stuff like that, so yeah, lots.
What was your first concert?
First concert I went to was the Stone Roses, and it was in, where was it? It was in Manchester, the International one, and we had no money at that time, and I borrowed some money off my mum to go and see this band, and that was it. It blew my mind, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and
I had one big fat joint ready to get in. I bought a ticket for 15 quid, lit this joint up, went down to the front of the stage, seen this band, and they blew my mind off.
Yeah.
I thought I could do that. And it wasn't, they were dressed like us, you know what I mean? They weren't dressed as like your typical rock stars, leather jacket, they weren't Guns N' Roses or anything. They just looked like lads who, were into music, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and they made
football kind of stuff, that casual thing. So I thought, we could do this, man.
And that first album is just one of the greats too, isn't it?
Man.
And are you blown away sometimes when you think about the legacy of great music from Manchester? I mean, Manchester, where you're from, it's been so many. Whether it's
at the Hollies, man.
The Hollies. I was just going to say the Hollies, Buzzcocks.
The Buzzcocks had top. Even the early Bee Gees, they were from there, like.
Yeah. So they
top bands, man. There's not been much since. Oasis.
No, there really hasn't been, I will say that.
There's a few things knocking about, but not that much.
Have you heard anything over in Britain lately that you like at all? Is there any band, or American, that you said, oh, that's pretty good, I'll check that out?
Not really, man. I mean, there's a band called Kasabian, you probably know them and that.
We know Kasabian, yeah.
Yeah, in fact, Serge married the girl who used to work at K-Rock here.
Right.
She's very cool. Stephanie, you know that one? Yeah.
Right.
So I know Stephanie well. She worked with me at K-Rock, and I remember when she met Serge.
They're the top band, man. Love them. The Arctic Monkeys are all right. There's a few good bands, but there's a lot of bands, but they're just making fast food music, man. There's nothing, it's not digesting well. They're not making albums, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
You hear it on the radio and you go, that's a cool tune. You go and buy the albums, and it's just.
We love that you're outspoken and you say what's on your mind. It's the only way to say it.
I agree. What about the U2 comment you made recently about
style?
The one about the U2 thing with the.
You've never met a U2 fan.
Never. I've never met any.
Yeah, and I thought one of the other funny things.
Not that I want to.
Yeah.
I don't walk around the streets going, you U2, give me some U2 fan. I don't. But listen, I've met Bono before, and he's a geezer and that. But someone asked me about fashion and that, and who do you think? And there's a lot of bands out there styled and that, and you can see them a mile off, like Coldplay. You know what I mean? And they don't buy their own clothes.
Yeah.
And they should. They should buy Pretty Green.
What about Coldplay?
Coldplay, what about them?
Do you like Coldplay?
All right.
Just okay.
All right. They don't do it for me that much. They're not rock and roll enough, man.
Yeah.
They're all right. They live all round the corner from me, so I don't say too much.
Yeah. They're neighbours.
They used to come round and, give me a paper cut or something.
You still go out and hang out at the local pubs, right? And
I do all that, yeah. I don't go out to clubs anymore. You get into trouble and that, but yeah, man, where I live in Hampstead, it's beautiful. You know what I mean? It's like big park and that. Just walk around with the kids and that, and don't go out that much. Just calm down a bit.
Yeah, I mean, well, hey, you had your phase. I remember you guys, especially when you were thinking about the first couple U.S. tours. I mean, you guys were going wild. You guys exploded. I mean,
but that's right. You meant to do that.
You got to do it,
because you don't know if it's going to last or not. You don't know if you're going to come back and do loads of tours. You just think, let's go mental. You know what I mean? It's like anything, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like
we would have done the same, wouldn't they?
Everyone, I agree, because at the end of the day, it's like all of a sudden you have this. It's like this freedom to do exactly what you want to do and anything you want.
On the other side of the world, and people, saying you're great, and you might as well have a good time, innit?
I agree, absolutely. Does it blow your mind sometimes? I mean, I believe it's one of the greatest songs, but in UK history, fans have voted "Live Forever" one of the greatest songs of all time.
That was my favourite tune, man.
Yeah,
it's good. I mean, there's been a lot of good tunes. I mean, it's when people go like that, say that you've wrote one of the greatest songs in history. I didn't write it, but I sang on it. But there's a lot of good songs out there, so you've got to take it as a compliment, haven't you?
You really should, absolutely.
We're talking to Liam Gallagher. Wanted to ask you about how you're going to release your stuff, because now everything from when Radiohead released their album and it was pay what you think it's worth, and
not doing any of that.
Billy Corgan just releasing things digitally, and
right. We're going to be trying doing it as old school as possible, without a doubt. I'm not down on. I mean, it's each to their own. People can release how their records how they want, but I want to do it how it feels right, you know what I mean? So we'll be doing it.
The way you enjoyed music, right? Like having vinyl, having a CD, having the opportunity, and the artwork, right?
Yeah, man, the artwork's dead important, isn't it?
It really is. I
hate CDs and I hate all this, but all that downloading stuff, I don't know much about it, you know what I mean? Stay clear from it, but...
Yeah, but I mean,
you're out on vinyl without a doubt.
Your favorite albums, like Leslie's and mine, you love the fact that you could buy a record, open it up, and you could read about, hey,
the
who
liner
played
notes
what,
and
the
everything.
lyrics.
You take care of it more, though, don't you?
Yeah.
With a record, you know what I mean? You put it back in its sleeve, and away you go. With these CDs, it's just like beer mats, aren't they?
Yeah.
Do you have a vinyl collection, Liam?
Yeah, man.
How big is it?
It's pretty big.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I mean, did you go? I mean, obviously, because
I haven't bought stuff for ages and that, you know what I mean? But I bought a lot when I was first got into it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, Stone Roses. You talked about the Mondays, and there's bands up that way.
The lads from Liverpool, they were a great band.
Love them, and that debut album is truly one of the greats.
Yeah, well, the drummer who drummed on that is drumming for us now.
Oh, really? That's great.
Just Shattuck. So,
what does he say? Does he ever see Lee Mavers anymore? I know Lee kind of.
I don't think he sees him that much. I think Lee Mavers is a bit.
He lost his mind quite a bit, right? Or was it? Yeah, he just.
They're all mad though, them Scousers, aren't they?
Yeah, the Scousers. He's talking about the people from Liverpool. That's their Scousers is definitely their nickname.
But they're nice people, but they're a bit bad.
Yeah, there you go. That's great.
Liam, when you guys first got together as a band, was it important for you immediately to conquer America because you were so big in the UK?
No, because I don't think we ever really conquered America, to be quite honest. We've done some good gigs here and good tours and that, but I don't think they took to us as much as I thought or we would have liked to. But it's time for that, you know what I mean? With the new band, there's no rush, you know what I mean?
Just let it happen organically.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beg people to like you know what I mean? That's just ridiculous. But we've done some good tours here, we've done some not so good tours here, but I'm quite happy with the way it happened, you know what I mean? We played Madison Square Garden, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and that was a great show. We were there, and I've also got to ask you, clear up for people that are looking back on the history of Oasis. You were starting the band with the rest of the guys. Noel had done the drummer, guitar thing with us in Spiral Carpets. How did the first meeting where you actually realized, hey, Noel, you can be in the band? Because it was your band first, wasn't it?
Well, we felt sorry for him having to plug other people's guitars in and that, you know what I mean? So we thought, yeah, come over there. The pay's not as good in that, but... come over there. So, but I knew Noel had some great songs anyway. You know what I mean? Because he'd keep me up all night with him.
Would he actually be sitting there in your house?
Sitting there playing at the end of the bed because we shared a room. So he'd be sitting at the end of the bed. I'd be sort of trying to do my own work or whatever, and he'd be writing songs. So that's And
you would look and go, wow, that's a great song. I mean, I know Columbia was the first demo that you guys had done, but what was the first song that you remember Noel writing, as before you really formed Oasis, that he might have actually used in the band?
I think it might have been Rock and Roll Star or one of them kind of early stuff, or even Supersonic. I remember we recorded Supersonic in Liverpool, and I thought, and the riff and that, and I thought, that sounds good, man. There's no one doing that at the moment. So they were good.
And the lyrics were such so much attitude in your voice. It was the greatest. I mean, it was like it was a real kick in the ass. What happened to those guys and the Real People? Any word on those guys?
All the brothers. I haven't seen them for ages. I like them though, man. They taught us quite a bit. Tony and Chris, man.
They were your friends in the beginning. I remember driving.
They're still my mates. So I haven't got no problem with anyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People that have been and gone, I've never had a problem with anyone.